So you're a new nurse or a student about to graduate, and you're not really sure what to expect. I'm going to go ahead and share some advice for you, starting now. Welcome back, everyone. I'm Keeks, and if this is your first time to the channel, go ahead and hit that like and subscribe button down below. I shared videos about nursing, hospital life, and just personal journey. So over my time as a hospital nurse, I've taught hundreds of student nurses and dozens of new hire orientees. And I just want to go ahead and share some advice that I share along with them along the way. First of all, one of the things I want to start with is every new nurse, when they start out, wants to go ahead and go for that dream job of theirs that they've been thinking about since the beginning. A lot of times that's ED, pediatrics, L&D, ICU, and to be honest with you, these are all the glamour jobs, the glamour units that everybody wants to join. And honestly, you're probably not going to get that one, not without the experience, and a lot of times those get filled up right away. So my advice to you is go ahead and be open to the positions that are available. There's plenty of different great opportunities for you out there in the hospital, and that includes all the specialties in med-surg and telemetry, whether it be oncology, renal, ortho. There's so much to learn and so much experience to take on your furthering your nursing journey. So don't get bogged down on what you want to do right away, and just kind of go ahead and get that experience, those foundations as a nurse before you get there, and don't be too bummed out on the unit and always expect to go to the next place. Give everything your all on that unit that you get hired to. Alright, so you got that new nursing job and you're really excited to start that job, and you just want to go ahead and get the best of everything pretty much. And so you want to go ahead and get that fancy new stethoscope. Sometimes they are electronic, those cardiac stethoscopes that are really shiny and bright. You want to get those really nice scrubs. You really want to get a whole utility belt, the fanny pack, the whole works. And honestly, a lot of that stuff doesn't really matter when it comes out to it. I mean, a nice generic stethoscope is going to do you just fine. You know, you don't really need all that extra things bogging you down. Those scrubs, you really want to go ahead and make sure that they fit just right, that they can move around. A lot of times these scrubs are really durable, but figure out what works for you and your shape and what you're going to be comfortable for. You don't always want to look good, but you want to be comfortable in them. Get some good shoes. Nice running shoes or walking shoes are the best things. Try to stay away from those clogs. I know a lot of people do those clogs, and honestly, I just don't agree with those things. They just don't seem very comfortable. If you're going to be running to a code, if you're going to be rocking back and forth, they just seem too heavy. So that's something I would definitely stay away from. So one of the biggest pieces of advice that I can't stress enough is listening to your PCAs. I can't stress enough how many times I've had a code that was initiated by a PCA. As a nurse, we're extremely busy. We're out with the doctors. We're actually with PT, OT. We're doing a lot of things with directors. And when it comes down to it, we're in between patients, not as often as the PCAs. The PCAs are in there doing the vitals. PCAs are in there turning and changing and providing that emotional support. They're also actually being able to see the patient a lot more and see that change ahead of time. I've been fortunate enough to have some great PCAs that have pulled me aside real quick and said, hey, this guy just doesn't look right. I go in there and this guy's not breathing, or they're just looking real diaphoretic, and I know stuff's about to go down, and we call that rapid response, we call that code, and they're in there already, either starting chest compressions or they're going to get the crash cart while I'm in there. They are really helping out and taking charge. A lot of times these CNAs, these PCAs, they have a lot more experience than the nurses. They've been on those units or they've seen a lot of things. So don't count them short. They're going to save your life and they're going to make you look good. Following up with that, I usually see two different types of new nurses. I see the overconfident nurses, or I see the ones that are just extremely unsure of themselves. And you really don't want to be one way or the other. The overconfident nurse is usually the most dangerous nurse, and that's the nurse that's going to go ahead and do those procedures, that's going to go ahead and do that patient care, or something else that's not really appropriate, something that they're not really sure on how to do these techniques, these procedures, or anything else without getting that experience. It's not a shame to go ahead and ask a more seasoned nurse or someone else to help watch you. It's like, hey, I only did this once in nursing school. Can you walk me through it? Give me a refresher. There's no shame in asking for help. On the other side, don't be too shy and don't be too afraid to go ahead and move into those things. Don't be afraid to, like, when someone needs an NG tube or somebody needs that IV, like, hey, can you watch me do this? Show me how to do it, and then the next time be there with me while I perform this procedure. That way I can get the practice. Go ahead and get as much experience as you can, and don't shy away from actually taking those opportunities. As well, take it upon yourself to go ahead and help another nurse on the floor if you have the time with some wound care or starting an IV or doing any of those other techniques. That way you can get the practice and you can become more experienced, and the next time you feel more confident in going into that patient's room and performing those procedures. And stemming from that, don't be afraid of criticism. Criticism is a good thing. Don't take it personal. Really, we never start off perfect the first time. So let's go ahead and take advice from someone who's already done it. While we're putting it in, a lot of times we might not do that IV correctly. We might blow that vein, but that's okay. Go ahead and let them talk about what it is that you did wrong and take that into the next time that you do that. Criticism just helps us grow. And so being able to take that without being personal, without feeling like we are less than, or that they are feeling that they're superior and we are inferior, that is not what it's about. It's about growing and becoming a better nurse through experience. The next thing I want to talk about, it happens in just about any unit and in any field that you do in nursing, whether it be at a nursing home, whether it be home health, or anything that you do, and that's gossip. Now, it's just about impossible to avoid gossip anywhere in the nursing field. It's going to happen every day, all day. But really, you do not want to put yourself involved in spreading any more gossip than you should. Sometimes you really need to vent and you need to get your frustration out. Maybe there's a nurse that's out there that is not performing as well as they need to be. Or maybe there's a nurse that you just don't mesh well. But really try to refrain from bad mouthing them. Try to refrain of talking about them to other patients. That's something I see a lot of. And as a nursing unit, we need to promote each other. We need to go ahead and not talk about each other to others. And if we are frustrated, maybe we share that with somebody or a friend, but mainly just from our frustrations. Sometimes we can joke about it, but sometimes we can joke with them there and make them a part of the joke. We all have our quirks, and I know a lot of times people will say things to me, and I know how it is, I know how I am, and it's fun, and we can kind of joke around with that. When we can share in the jokes, it makes it not so much gossip, but more of just a community and more of a family that we enter in. And so let's try to promote that instead of that gossiping. If there's something going on with somebody's personal life and they explain and they share that with you, don't go ahead and spread that out with anybody else. You can share that with them. If you feel concerned about them, you can go ahead and bring that up to a director or somebody else for safety. But really, if they confided in you, keep that to yourself. Now, the next two pieces of advice kind of go hand in hand together. And the first part is be careful with your snacks. As a nurse, it's very easy to just roll into those bad habits of going to the vending machine, getting some sodas, getting some cookies, getting some chips, and you bring them back to the nurse's station just so you can eat real quick because you really don't have time to take a lunch or a break. You're just kind of munching in between. And you start to pack on the pounds after a while, and you're not really sure why. I mean, you're walking a lot, you're getting tons of steps, but you're just adding empty calorie after empty calorie, and it can add up very, very quickly. And you already put in those pounds from nursing school, so you don't want to add to the issue. And that goes into the next part. You got to stay hydrated. We're running back and forth. We don't really have time to really take that break and get a few sips of water. We have those hydration stations, but you really got to try to have a water bottle on you. Try to get about a liter of water in you throughout the day. My very first year of nursing, I ended up getting a kidney stone. I got it on my right flank, and I was trying to walk that off all day. I couldn't leave my shift, and I was just felt this stabbing pain on my side, and I still had to do my duties. So you don't want to be in the same situation I was. You got to stay hydrated, avoid those snacks at all costs, and try to keep yourself healthy. So these are just a few things that I want to share with you as a new nurse or a graduate about to get into the field. And I want to go ahead and dedicate this video to Brenda. She's a student nurse currently right now. I had her on her first semester, and I have her again on her last semester. And I've been very fortunate to have somebody that's just so eager to get out in the field. I know she's going to be a caring and compassionate nurse, and I look forward to working with you hopefully one day in the future. I want to thank everybody for watching today, and if you enjoyed this video, again, please like and subscribe down below. Go ahead and leave me a comment if there's anything else you want me to go with. I'll definitely look at those comments. I'll reply to you, and maybe we can see you in a future video. Thanks again for watching. Good night, and God bless.